So today's topic is about wholesaling rent to own. The wholesale rent to own formula, what is that? How does this work? So basically what a wholesale rent to own is if you ever rented a property before, you got a rental agreement, right? Rent to own is when you have a rental agreement, then you also have an option to purchase the home for a certain number of years. Maybe it's 2 years, you have the right to purchase the home with maybe the purchase price is 200,000. So you control the equity, you control the cash flow. So what a wholesale rent to own is basically we're just assigning these contracts for a down payment. So for example, if we get a property under contract for rent to own for, let's say we got it for $200,000 purchase price for a 2-year term for $1,000 a month, and maybe it's a $2,000 down payment, we'll turn around and we'll advertise that deal for maybe 210,000 with a $10,000 down payment and for $1,000 a month. So we give the owner 2,000 down, and then we're asking the buyer to pay 10,000. So there's $8,000 down payment we can get in that example that I just put out there. Okay. And basically you're just assigning the contract and you're walking away from the deal. You're not staying in the middle. So last week I talked about how to do sandwich rent to owns, how to stay in the middle of the deal. So last week I talked about how you can pick up cash flowing rental properties without getting to debt. So if you missed that one, go to last week's video. It's in the Facebook group that you're in here now. If you go to the guide section or just go to the feature section on top, you'll see the replay from last week. And today we're not talking about staying in the middle of the deal, but we're talking about just assigning that contract and then collecting the down payment. Okay. So wholesale lease options are same negotiating terms, basically as a sandwich lease option. I'm going to get into all the terms. You're going to have to negotiate price. You're going to have to negotiate the rent. You're going to have to negotiate the terms. You're going to have to negotiate the down payment. The only difference, again, is you're not staying in the middle of the deal for the duration of the lease term. You're simply assigning your position in the lease for a fee or a down payment. Usually we're asking maybe 5% to 10% of the purchase of the retail value of the home for down payment. So if the property is worth, 200,000, 10% is we can get up to 20,000, or even 10,000 to 20,000 is what we usually ask for down payment. So wholesaling rent to owns works well for rent section. You can do a lot of these with the for rent section. And that's, people are already saying, I want to rent my home. All we have to do is convince them to do a rent to own. So they're already saying, I want to rent my home for $2,000 a month. All we have to do is convince them to say, hey, if we can agree on a purchase price today, do you think you'll do a rent to own? If they say yes, that's all we need to convince them. And then we just need to negotiate the price, the terms, and the rent. The wholesale rent to own, you can get a lot of these for rent, for Craigslist, for rent from Zillow, for rent from Facebook Marketplace. With wholesale rent to own, the price and monthly rent, you can actually give them full market value. So if the retail value of the house as is worth 200,000, you can give them 200,000. If the full market rent value of the house is 2,000 a month, you can give them 2,000 a month. So last week we talked about a sandwich rent to own where we needed to get the if the market value was 200,000, we maybe need to be somewhere at 160 or 175 to stay in the middle of the deal. And also on the rent, with the sandwich rent to own, we need to get it at maybe 1,500 to 1,400 a month if the market rent was 2,000 to stay in the middle. With a sandwich rent to own, you want to make sure there's equity and cash flow. But with the wholesale rent to own, the only profit that we're making is in the down payment. So we can give them full market rent, we give them full market price. The only profit that we make is in the down payment with the seller that we're creating and then that we're selling to the buyer. So the down payment is the only place where you make your money on this type of deal. So what you want to do is try your best to get the seller down to 0 down, 1 month down, maybe 2 months rent down payment. Worst case scenario is a 50-50 profit split with the owner. So that'll be like the absolute worst case scenario that we do. But what you want to do is try to negotiate with the seller. And the best thing is try to get them down to 0 down payment or just 1 month's rent. Again, worst case, split the profit with the owner. So for example, you get the down payment at, $2,000 down payment to move forward with the deal. And then you sell it for $10,000 down payment. So you're going to make a profit of $8,000 in the down payment. And that's the goal, is to create a spread in the down payment. Okay. So here's like the exact words we say when negotiating like a rent to own. We always lead with a sandwich rent to own offer, like we're going to stay in the middle of the deal. So no matter what, we always lead with a sandwich rent to own offer, because why not? Since there's going to be possibility of equity, possibility of cash flow, that you can stay in the middle of the deal. So we always lead with that. We are the buyer. We are going to stay in the middle and do a sandwich rent to own. So how we negotiate this is, Mr. Seller, would you be willing to rent your house for a 2 to 3 year lease? If yes, are you willing to also sell your house if we could agree on a price today, on a price with the tenant? So I'm looking for an investment property that I can rent for a couple years and then eventually buy it. That would work for you, would it? So this is something that you can say, word for word. And if they say, yeah, I'm interested in possibly selling it and doing a long-term lease. If they say yes to these questions, yes, I can do a long-term lease. Yes, I'm looking to sell if we can agree on a price. They're automatically open to the concept of rent to own. So I would consider that like a super hot lead. So what we would do in that situation is try to meet the owner right away if we could, or we're going to make the offer right over the phone and try to do the wholesale rent to own right over the phone. Again, always lead with a sandwich rent to own offer, like you're staying in the middle of the deal. If they reject the sandwich rent to own offer, then what we do is we go to the wholesale rent to own offer, or we can offer them full market price, full market rent. So if you watched last week's training, I would go, if you missed it, go back and watch that. The sandwich rental, we're trying to get them down on the price, get them down on the rent, since we're staying in the middle of the deal, since there's equity and cash flow. So that's a way that you can pick up cash flowing rentals without getting into debt, without putting a down payment down. So check that out if you missed it, and go into the guide section from last week. So with the wholesale rent to owns, we always leave with a sandwich rent to own offer. If they reject it, again, we're going to come up on the price, come up on the rent, and then try and negotiate just for the down payment. So you can offer more on price, you can offer more on the rent, since you're not staying in the middle of the deal. If you cannot get them down on the monthly rent or equity or the purchase price, then say this next. So the next thing is, let's say they completely reject your sandwich rent on offer. Now you're gonna say, you can pretty much say this word for word. No, okay, the numbers don't work for me to stay in the middle of the deal. Since I'm an investor, I need some cash flow, I need some equity to make a profit. As you can understand, I have clients that are maybe credit challenged now, but are able to qualify for a mortgage in maybe 1 to 3 years. Now, we don't charge you a fee for anything for our services, but the buyer pays me a fee or a down payment to move in. Is that okay with you, Mr. Seller? So if he says yes to this question, then you just basically negotiated that, hey, you're going to collect the fee, you're going to collect the down payment, and they're okay with it. So you're basically, if they say yes, this is a deal that you should probably send a contract right away or try to meet the seller right away. If they say yes, you just close them, send them the rent to own contract. And again, use common sense when doing these deals. So for example, if the owner wants $200,000 purchase price and all the comps say that the highest value of this house is only 150,000, obviously that's not going to work, right? Because eventually the tenant buyer is going to try to get a mortgage, meaning that they're going to get an appraisal, they're going to see if the property is worth the price that they're purchasing it for. So the property will need to appraise at the price you're selling it for. So use common sense. You don't want to go like way above where the comps are at. You want to be right where the comps are at, where you're getting the retail value. Same thing with the rent, right? If rental meter, we like to use rentalmeter.com to get the rent value, or you can use Zillow.com. If Zillow and rental meter say that this property can rent for $2,000 a month in this area, and then the owner wants like $3,000 a month, some crazy number, for the same house you can rent for 2,000 in the area, then it's not going to be worth it. It's going to be a waste of time. It's never going to get rented because people can either just go down the street and rent the same house for 2,000 a month. So why would they go and pay $1,000 more, right? So just use common sense. Don't agree to go, way over higher on the price, way over higher on the rent in the area, or else you're not going to be able to rent it. You're not going to be able to sell it. It's going to be a waste of time for you. It's going to be a waste of time for the rent to own buyer. It's going to be a waste of time for the seller. So make sure that you're selling it at the right price and getting it under contract at right around the market value of what it's going to rent for. So property must appraise and be close to rental market value to work. Okay. So we're going to go over a wholesale rent to own offer, just an example with numbers. So the price you should give them is as is retail value. The property may be in great shape, but let's say it may need 20,000 in rehab to update the house to look like the highest sold comps. So to get market rent, you simply go to rentometer.com or Zillow.com. And then all you have to do is negotiate down payment. Worst cases, I would split the down payment with the owner. So let me just go back to, it's not an example. I'm gonna get my notepad really quick. And then just go over like an example with numbers and then go over like a live deal on showing you how you can do it. How you can do it as well with properties that are on the market today. So let's go over a live deal. Let's say that we get ARV at 200,000, right? And then let's say we get market rent at 2,000 a month. In the market, this is the rent. And you get the down payment at maybe 1 month rent, 2,000, right? So this is you in the middle. This is the owner. And this is the rent to own buyer. So you're basically, this is an assignment. So you're assigning this contract, rent to own contract that you're going to get with the owner, and then you're going to assign it to the buyer. And you're basically going to pass on the everything except for the down payment. So 200,000 is going to, that's the price the buyer. So your fee is going to be in the markup. So you're going to, like I said, 5 to 10%. So if you're looking for 20,000 down, you're going to sell it to the buyer for 220,000, for example. So when you go market the house, if you're looking for like a 10% down payment, you're going to try to sell it for 220 because that's going to be the down payment, right? And then you're going to give them the same market rent. And then the down payment is now going to be, 20,000, right? So, and then there's also the terms, which is meaning the years. Usually like we'll try to do maybe 2 years and we just pass it on. Again, we're not staying in the middle of the deal. So you can see the only profit in this deal is coming, from this right here, the down payment. So if we get 2,000 down, then we mark it at 220 and try to get 20,000 down, we can collect the $18,000 assignment fee. So basically, we have our rent to own contract with the owner. That's assignable. And then we have our assignment fee. And then we basically just assign that. So there's just 2 contracts, rent to own contract with the owner, assignment fee, and then we collect the down payment. And yeah, you can do deals where we get 20,000 down, 10,000 down. We had a deal where we made at one time a $30,000 down payment, and we paid the owner $5,000. So there was like a $25,000 assignment fee in the rent to own. But usually these deals, you're going to get 5,000, 10,000. Yeah, you can get some higher end deals where they're willing to put up 20,000, even $30,000 down. So you're just assigning this deal for a down payment. You're not staying in the middle. So what I would do is go watch the training from last week. And I show you how to get ARV, how to get the rent. And we're gonna go over a live deal too. We're gonna go over a live deal too in this training, and we're just gonna go like on Zillow, find a deal, and then go over it live together and just go over the numbers, okay? So what we're gonna do next is go into a deal live. So, and then analyze the deal live. Let me just show you how we came up with the numbers. I'm just gonna go to Zillow. I'm gonna go in the for rent section. And then let's do something in Chicago. Let's do 60641. And when you're doing these, it's like to do them with houses, maybe townhomes, apartments. You're gonna get a lot of like 100-unit buildings, 30-unit buildings where it's impossible to get hold of the owner. So townhomes are a little, you know, there are a lot of them are you can get direct to the owner. But here, let's just go with let's just try to find a single family to make it easier. So we have a house for rent, 3833 North Kenneth. So we're going to analyze this deal and then come up with our purchase price, our rent, our terms, and then just go over it step by step. So what I like to use, first thing we need to do is we need to get the ARV, right? I like to use Redfin, which is it's going to give you pretty accurate comps. So we use Redfin, and we just basically go into Redfin here. You put the address in. I like to get 2 tabs open at the same time. And then what we do is we'll take one of the tabs and then we'll go into the zip code. So what I'm trying to do is look for sold comparables to get the after rehab value, to get the retail value, so that I know what purchase price I can come up with on this deal to make an offer, right? So here's my second tab I have open because I want to see exactly where it is on the map. So it's right below like Milwaukee and 19 right here, right below Old Irving Park. So I know where it is exactly. So it's like right here. Right, so let's say right around here. So what I'm doing now is I zoom in to try to get around a half-mile radius of this property. And what I'm doing is now searching for all the sold comps in the last 6 months. And this is a single family, so I'm looking for single families. And then I'm also trying to get houses that are similar size. So this is 1610 square feet. So I'm trying to now filter this to maybe like 1800 and under. What I try to do is go maybe 10% higher and then everything under that to get my comps. So next we go to price. You can sort by price, high to low. We do high to low because we're trying to get the highest sold comps that sold at the highest price to get the full retail value of the property. So what's good is that we have pictures, so we know the condition. So let's look at the pictures of the home. So you can see it's looks like an updated kitchen. Looks in really good condition, rentable as is. Could use some cosmetic rehabbing, make it more modern, but there's not many pictures, so we can't really, I would say, maybe some new flooring, get rid of the carpeting. maybe make it more modern, maybe an updated bathroom, maybe a little updates to the kitchen. But looking at it, if we look at the comps here that sold that are nearby, we need to make it comparable. So I mean, this property is about the same shape here. There's one comp that sold 800. This property is at 3833. Just making sure I have the right area. Yep. So 800 is one at 725. So, and sometimes Redfin doesn't have the pictures. So what we do in that situation, and this one looks like a new building. It could be something like a new build. And how we do that is we go into the public facts and we can see your build. So we're not going to use this one because this is like a brand new building in the last 5 years. If we go to public facts on our property, our property was built in 1890. So that's